You have been studying English for months, maybe even years, but when someone speaks to you fast, your mind goes blank. Everything you studied disappears. Why does that happen? And more importantly, how do you fix it? Today, I am going to tell you a story, a simple, beautiful story, and while you listen, something amazing will happen. Your brain will start to absorb English naturally, without stress, without memorizing grammar rules, just like a child learns their first language, through listening, through feeling, through living the words. Stay with me. This story might change the way you learn English forever. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Easy English Conversation. I'm Sarah, and I'm so happy you're here today. Before we begin the story, I want you to meet someone. Her name is Layla. Layla is 28 years old. She lives in a small apartment in the city. She works at a bookshop. A bookshop is a store where people buy books. Layla loves books. She reads every day. But here is the thing. All the books she loves most are written in English, and Layla's English is not strong yet. She understands some words, but full sentences, full paragraphs, that feels impossible. Every night, Layla sits by her window with a cup of tea. She opens an English book. She reads one sentence, then she stops. She looks up 3 words in her dictionary. Then she reads the next sentence. It is slow. It is frustrating. Frustrating means something makes you feel annoyed and tired because it is too difficult. She whispers to herself, "I will never be good at this." Do you know that feeling? That small, quiet voice that says, "Maybe this is not for me." I think many of you know that feeling. And today, I want to tell you Layla's story, because something happens to Layla. Something small, but it changes everything. So, let's begin. I will speak slowly and clearly. If you hear a word you don't know, don't stop. Keep listening. Let the story carry you forward. This is how real listening practice works. Ready? Let's go. Layla worked at a small bookshop. The bookshop was called the Blue Door. It was painted means covered with color, bright blue, and it sat right next to the sea. Every morning, Layla walked to work along the beach. She could hear the waves. Waves are the moving walls of water in the sea. She could smell the salt in the air. She loved this walk. It was the best part of her day. The bookshop opened at 9 o'clock. Layla arrived at 8:30. She always arrived early. She liked the quiet. She liked being alone with the books before the customers came. Customers are the people who come to buy things. She would make herself a coffee. She would walk between the shelves. Shelves are the long, flat boards where books are placed, and she would run her fingers along the book covers, softly, like saying good morning to old friends. One Tuesday morning, something different happened. Layla was arranging. Arranging means putting things in a neat, organized order, a new set of books near the window. She heard the bell above the door, the little bell that rang every time a customer came in. She looked up. A man walked in. He was tall. He had a dark green coat and a heavy backpack. He looked tired, not angry tired, but travel tired, like someone who had been on a long journey. A journey is a long trip from one place to another. "Excuse me," the man said. His English had an accent. An accent is the special way someone speaks based on where they are from. Layla couldn't tell where he was from. Somewhere far away, she thought. "Can you help me?" he asked. Layla smiled. "Of course," she said. Her voice was small, nervous. Nervous means worried and not relaxed. "I'm looking for a book," the man said. "A book about the sea, not a science book, not a geography book, a story, a real story about the sea." Layla thought for a moment. Then she walked to a shelf near the back of the shop. She pulled out a book. The cover was deep blue. The title was simple, The Sea Remembers. "This one," Layla said. "It's beautiful." The man took the book. He turned it over. He read the back. Then he looked at Layla. "Have you read it?" he asked. "Yes," she said, 3 times. He smiled, a warm smile. "Then it must be good." Now, let's pause here for a moment. I want you to repeat after me. Say this sentence out loud. Don't be shy. Repeat after me. "Can you help me? I'm looking for a book about the sea." Say it again, slowly. "Can you help me? I'm looking for a book about the sea." Excellent. You just practiced natural English conversation. That is exactly how a real person asks for help in a shop. Simple, polite, and clear. The man's name was Daniel. He told Layla this as he paid for the book. He was a writer. Not a famous writer, but a working writer. He wrote travel articles for magazines. A magazine is a thin book that comes out every week or month with stories and pictures. Daniel was traveling along the coast. The coast is the land that is right next to the sea. And he needed stories, real stories, local stories, stories about the people and the places. "Do you know any good stories?" asked Layla. "About this town? About the sea?" Layla opened her mouth. Then she closed it. She had many stories. She had grown up here. She knew every fisherman. A fisherman is someone whose job is to catch fish. Every old woman who remembered the storms. Every child who had found something strange on the beach. But telling the stories in English? That felt impossible. "My English is not very good," she said quietly. Daniel looked at her. "Your English sounds fine to me," he said. "No," she said, "I make mistakes. My grammar is wrong." Daniel laughed softly, not a mean laugh, a kind one. "Everyone makes mistakes," he said. "That is not the point. The point is, do you have something to say?" Layla looked at him. "Yes," she said after a moment, "I think I do." "Repeat after me. This is an important phrase. Say it out loud. Everyone makes mistakes. That is not the point." Again. Everyone makes mistakes. That is not the point. Remember this. Write it down if you can, because this is true for you too, my friend. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone, even native speakers. Native speakers are people who grew up speaking English as their first language. Even they make mistakes. The point is not to be perfect. The point is to communicate. To communicate means to share your ideas and feelings with another person. Daniel came back the next day, and the day after that. Every morning he would buy a coffee from the small cafe next to the bookshop. Then he would come in and sit near the window, and he would listen to Layla. She told him about the fishermen. She told him about the old lighthouse. A lighthouse is a tall tower with a bright light that helps ships at sea find their way. She told him about the storm 10 years ago that destroyed half the harbor. A harbor is a protected area of water where boats stay safe. At first, Layla's English was slow. She stopped many times. She searched for words. Sometimes she said a word in her own language and then laughed and said, Sorry, I don't know the English word." And Daniel would say, "That's okay. How would you describe it? Show me." And she would try. She would use her hands. She would use other words. She would draw pictures in the air. And slowly, the right words would come. This is called circumlocution. Circumlocution means finding another way to say something when you don't know the exact word. It is a very powerful skill. The best language learners do this all the time. For example, if you don't know the word lighthouse, you can say, "It's a tall building near the sea. It has a very big, bright light. It helps boats not to crash." That is circumlocution, and it works. Repeat after me. "I don't know the exact word, but I can describe it." Say it again. "I don't know the exact word, but I can describe it." This sentence will save you so many times. in conversations, in job interviews, in everyday life. When you don't know a word, don't stop. Don't go silent. Describe it. Keep talking. Keep going. Weeks passed. Daniel stayed in the town longer than he planned. He said it was because of the stories, but Layla thought maybe it was also because of the coffee, and maybe, just maybe, because of her. They started taking walks along the beach after the bookshop closed. Layla would point at things and tell them their stories. The old stone wall that was built 200 years ago, the wooden boat that nobody owned anymore, the cat that slept on the harbor wall every afternoon. And as she talked, something was happening, something she didn't notice at first. Her English was getting easier. The words were coming faster. The pauses were getting shorter. One evening, Daniel stopped walking. He turned to her. "You know," he said, "when I first came in, you said your English wasn't good." Layla smiled. "I remember." "What do you think now?" he asked. She looked out at the sea for a moment. The sun was going down. The water was orange and thick and gold. She said slowly, "I think that I was wrong about myself." "Oh, did you feel that? That moment? I was wrong about myself." This is what happens when you stop being afraid and start practicing. You discover means to find something for the first time. You discover that you were always more capable than you thought. Capable means able to do something well. Before, Layla was afraid. Now she speaks with confidence. Confidence means feeling sure and strong about yourself. That is the power of just beginning, of just trying, of just saying yes to the conversation, even when it is scary. And now I want to speak to you directly. Yes, you, the person watching this right now. Maybe you feel like Layla. Maybe you have something to say, but the English words don't come fast enough. Maybe you feel embarrassed. Embarrassed means feeling shy and uncomfortable in front of others. Maybe you have stopped yourself from speaking because you were afraid of making mistakes. I want you to hear this clearly. Your story matters. Your voice matters. The world needs to hear what you have to say. And English? English is just the door. You already have everything behind that door. The ideas, the feelings, the stories. English is just the key. English is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every conversation, every story you listen to, every sentence you repeat, it is all building that muscle, slowly, steadily. Steadily means in a calm, continuous way, without stopping. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be brave. Just a little bit brave, just like Layla. So today, we followed Layla's story. We practiced listening to natural English. We learned 3 powerful ideas. First, everyone makes mistakes, and that is okay. Second, when you don't know a word, describe it. Keep talking. And third, when you start speaking, even imperfectly, your English grows every single time. Your challenge today is this: find one person, a friend, a family member, a classmate, and tell them Layla's story in English. Just try. Use simple words. Don't worry about mistakes. Just tell the story. If this video helped you today, please give it a thumbs up and share it with one friend who is learning English. It will help them so much. I'm Sarah. Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep believing in yourself. Bye for now.